Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Tappy. I'm back for another live stream, of course, brought to you by Princess Dental Staffing. Each week on Wednesdays, we're bringing you a new topic that discusses how to start and or maintain your career in the dental industry. We're bringing these to you, like I said, weekly on Wednesdays. So if you don't want to miss out on future streams, be sure to like our page or subscribe to our channel. And of course, for any of these streams, if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or insights on any of the topics that we're covering, be sure to leave a comment below. If we can't get to your comment or your question while the stream is live, we'll definitely get to it as soon as possible. We'll circle back around, okay? And if you like the content that we're bringing you, be sure to like this video and share it if you so desire. If you want further information on the topics that we are covering weekly, be sure to check out Princess Dental Staffing's website at princessdentalstaffing.com, where you can check out their blog and all the topics on their blog. And it's also super, super easy to create a profile and start searching for jobs. Okay, so glad everyone could be here with me today. Happy to see everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful hump day, almost to the weekend, you guys. So what is today's topic? What are we talking about today? So today we're talking about, we're going to be talking about what responsibilities you want to include on your dental assistant resume. And we're going to be talking about what to include, whether you have direct dental assistant experience or not. Okay, so we're going to be diving into that, great things to include on that resume. Okay. But first, let's start off by talking about why it's important to have a really great dental assistant resume. Why is that important, right? Well, dental assistants are a vital part of any dental office, right? You definitely need dental assistants, right? So they must be chosen carefully. So, hiring managers and dentist office managers, whoever's, involved in the hiring process, they definitely take their time, or at least they, do their best to take their time in carefully selecting a dental assistant that's going to fit with their office and is going to be able to provide the services that they need in order to keep their business running. Okay, so having so there are definitely advantages to being a dental assistant, such as, flexibility and helping patients receive a beautiful and healthy smile. And that's one of the reasons why dental assistant positions are so highly competitive. Okay. Since it is highly competitive, we definitely want to have a resume that is streamlined, that maximizes the overall impact of your resume to potential employers, so that you can kind of stand out from the stack, right? You can be remembered. Hi, Ralph. Welcome. So you definitely want to make sure that your resume is detailed without being too overwhelming. We want to keep it concise and brief, but we also want to add a lot of targeted content as well. Okay, and that definitely includes responsibilities and tasks. Okay, so that potential employers have a really good idea of what you do as a dental assistant. Okay, so let's move on and talk a little bit about what dental assistants do. Okay, that's going to kind of help us, talk a little bit more when we talk more about the responsibilities to include, a little bit later. That will help us kind of have a frame of reference. So let's talk a little bit about what dental assistants do, just kind of a brief, broad overview. Just like with any position, the details on your job tasks and responsibilities are going to vary a little bit from company to company, from office to office. But generally, let's just kind of give a very general overview of what dental assistants do, okay? So dental assistants have a mix of kind of administrative and also patient-focused tasks. Okay, so let's start out with administrative. So some administrative tasks include processing payments and insurance, scheduling appointments for patients, handling inventory, ordering new supplies and equipment, and cleaning instruments, equipment, and tools, and making sure they're sanitized. Okay. Now, when it comes to being patient-focused, kind of those patient-focused tasks, some examples include teaching patients about the best oral care practices, like how to properly brush and floss and those sorts of things, asking patients about their medical history, assisting the dentist during patient treatments and procedures, and cleaning patients' teeth with dental instruments. Okay, so those are kind of the patient-focused duties as well as the administrative focus. So with those duties in mind, like I said, it's very general overview, but it gives us a good idea of the types of things that we definitely want to include on a dental assistant resume. Okay. So let's talk about some things that you can include on your resume, on your dental assistant resume, if you have prior direct experience as a dental assistant, okay? So it's going to be a lot easier to write, obviously, if you already have experience and you already have a pretty good idea of what dental assistants do on a regular basis, what a typical day looks like. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll talk about if you don't have experience, some of the things that you can include as well. So you want to list out every relevant job title in order, usually within the past 10 to 15 years. You usually don't want to go past before 15 years, okay? And you want to do it in reverse chronological order, okay? If you have direct experience, go ahead and do a reverse chronological. Sometimes it's called a chronological resume, but generally it's a reverse chronological resume, meaning your most recent one is first, okay? And then going backwards from there, okay? But you want to include the relevant jobs. So if you had other positions that were not dental assistant positions or weren't directly related to the dental industry, those ones you might want to leave out. You don't have to list every single job title you've ever had on a resume. That's a common fallacy that I run into quite a bit. You don't have to list every single one, but you definitely want to list enough to show that you have a solid background and history as a dental assistant, okay? You want to list out about 4 to 6 bullets. So if you're formatting with bullets, you want to list out about 4 to 6 bullets that kind of go over your duties and your responsibilities, but also your accomplishments as well, and awards that you received, etc. Okay? And awards as well, like you can list awards if you want to in your job entries, or you can decide to list them in a separate section on your resume. That's totally fine as well. Either way you decide to do it, totally up to you, okay? But here are just some responsibilities that you want to include if you have previous experience as a dental assistant. Again, keeping in mind kind of what we kind of went over already briefly, regarding job duties of a dental assistant. Okay, so some dental assistant job responsibilities: providing patient care, okay, scheduling appointments, processing payments and handling insurance, providing dentist chairside assistance, and patient teeth cleaning. Okay, so you can definitely include all of those responsibilities in your job entries. Okay, in those bullets in your job entries. Okay. You can also list some metrics here. Metrics are a great thing to use, especially in your accomplishment statements. When you're listing out your accomplishments, metrics are always a great thing to use. They help paint a picture for potential employers regarding the breadth and the depth of your experience, your tasks, your accomplishments, and all those things. So metrics, always a great thing to use. So just some examples of some metrics that you can use. Number of patients you worked with on a daily or a weekly basis on average, okay? Number of dental records you maintained, okay? Amount of x-rays you processed, okay? Number of dentists you supported in a dental office as well. So if it was like a multi-dentist office, you can absolutely include that as well. So metrics like that are really, really great. So just kind of reiterate, metrics are, things like amounts, dollar amounts, percentages, even time frames as well. So like, when you say on daily or a weekly basis, that's a metric right there because it's a time frame, right? So definitely, as much as you can, add as many metrics as you know and as you can to your responsibilities, to your accomplishments, and it's really going to add depth to your resume, okay? So some examples of customer feedback, you can also add some customer or some patient feedback as well. So if you earned a percentage of positive customer reviews, so like, if, say, for example, your office is on like a star rating, 1 out of 5, so you can say I maintained a 4.5 star rating out of 5 stars on patient reviews or customer reviews, okay? If you also ever received a bonus or a pay raise or an award or something like that for positive feedback, absolutely go ahead and add that as well. I always say that, awards and recognition are accomplishments in and of themselves because your management, your leadership is recognizing you for the expertise that you bring to the table and for how you contributed to making the office a better, more successful place. Okay. And lastly, examples of leadership responsibilities as well. So definitely, if you had some leadership experience as a dental assistant, for example, if you trained other employees in certain skills or things of that nature, go ahead and add that as well. It really shows leadership capabilities as well. Okay, so I've got some questions coming in. Let's review some of these. How many sentences should you include under each job to describe your responsibilities? It really depends on how you're kind of formatting it. But if you're going the bullet route, again, about 4 to 6 bullets will be about right. I think those bullets are important. Yes, when people exclude that, it's hard to determine what role they serve in that position. Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying earlier, generally, if you say that you are a dental assistant, people have a pretty good idea of what you did, but again, those specific ins and outs, they may not know that. So definitely including those responsibilities, is very, very important. Okay. I like the idea of listing exact numbers. Yeah, metrics, like I said, they really help add depth to your resume. Okay, really help you stand out from the stack. Like your idea of metrics. Yes. Would you add tech use as part of your responsibilities? You can, Sahar. Yeah, absolutely. That's completely up to you. You can have if you don't have a separate skills section, if you decide not to do that, like if your resume formatting just doesn't allow for it, or you just can't find room, or if if the skills section becomes too lengthy, if you're, listing out, like if you're listing out all of your skills and it just becomes a little bit too lengthy, you can absolutely add them into your responsibilities as well. Updated medical records using, name the system. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. So yeah, if you're not already listing it in your skills section, go ahead and list it in your responsibilities. Absolutely. That's a great idea, Sahar. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's move on to talking about how you're going to list your responsibilities if you don't have direct experience. Okay, let's say you just graduated from a program or something like that in dental assisting, and you don't have that experience yet. Firstly, I always recommend listing your education first. Okay, so if you have related, if you just, like I said, if you just graduated from a program or a degree, I would probably list your education first, just because that's likely going to be most relevant. Okay, but definitely you want to list some work history in there as well. Just because it wasn't directly exactly dental assistant related, you can still communicate the skills that you've honed in your career thus far that can lend well to a dental assisting position. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So what we're talking about is job competency. So we're talking about, okay, I honed skills so for example, let's say you were in a customer service related position. Okay, so you've honed those interpersonal skills and being able to communicate with customers, those communication skills as well. Those can still lend really, really well to a dental assistant position. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on a little bit more when we're listing out our responsibilities for previous positions that were not dental assistant positions. Okay. So the other thing that you can consider if you don't have direct dental assistant experience, consider a volunteer position, or complete an externship or an internship if you have the ability, and then just kind of adding that into your work history. Okay, that's whether or not you're paid for it, work is work, and honing those skills is honing those skills. So you can absolutely include that in your work history. Okay. So if we're talking about volunteer work, let's talk first for like volunteer work and then externship, and then we'll talk a little bit more about non-related positions. Okay, so volunteer work, you can talk about who you volunteered for, the position title that you volunteered for. So you can say volunteer dash, dental assistant or dental, whatever the job title was. And just a little bit about what you did while you're volunteering, just those responsibilities. And if you shadowed somebody, who you was shadowed, did you shadow a dentist or did you shadow a dental hygienist or another dental assistant? talk about who you shadowed as well, and you can kind of say, even if it was mostly kind of honing your skills and learning, you could also say something to the effect of, increased knowledge of dental assistant responsibilities, or something like, or gained in-depth knowledge into job responsibilities, or something like that of a dental assistant. Okay, so you can absolutely say that. All right. Now, talking about an externship, of course, where you completed your externship, what your position was, how long your externship lasted as well. Okay. And just again, those responsibilities, what you did during your externship. If what you did was shadow somebody and you gained a little bit more in-depth knowledge on how to work with patients, and, gaining some insight from an expert in those tips and techniques for communication, or how to explain things to patients, that's definitely great information to list. Those are definitely responsibilities, and they deserve to be in your resume. Okay. So again, we can talk about, if it wasn't an internship, an externship, or a volunteer position, if it just was not a dental position, again, you can still list those responsibilities, but you want to focus specifically on your skills. Okay, so you'll want to focus on, thinking back to when we talked earlier about, those responsibilities that are generally associated with a dental assistant. For example, updating patient records. Okay, if you have some computer skills, go ahead and list those. Talk about how you, how to use different systems and apps in order to update records, or things of that nature. Your customer service skills, your interpersonal skills, communication. Definitely focus on those skills that lend well to a dental assistant position. And of course, always include some accomplishments, an accomplishment statements to show that even if it wasn't a dental position, you always strive to achieve something in your positions. Okay, those are always great things to include. Another thing that you can do is, we're not talking about an objective statement or a professional summary, but if you do include one, which I definitely recommend that you do, but in talking about your objective statement or your professional summary, you can always include accomplishments there as well, or just, give like a list 2-3 skills in there as well, to kind of entice the potential employer to continue reading your resume. Okay. So I've got a few more questions coming through, or at least I think I do. Oh, no, I answered all of them already. But yeah, so definitely, like I said, for those non-related positions, make sure that you're focusing on those skills. And always, like I said, if you can, go ahead and include those metrics as much as possible. It's really going to help punch up the impact of your resume. Okay. So those are all the tips that I have for you today. Thanks for all the great questions, you guys. Those are some really great, thoughtful, insightful questions. So really great things to ask. Really glad that you guys came in and asked those today. So if you have any other questions, though, any other thoughts or insights, if you're a hiring manager and you have some insights on what you'd like to see in the responsibilities on a dental assistant resume, be sure to comment those below. But thank you for being here with me today, everyone. Again, hope your Wednesday is going well. I hope you have a great week and a great weekend. Hope you're staying safe out there. We will be back next week with another topic to discuss with you. In the meantime, like I said, comment your questions, etc. below. You are welcome, Sahar. And I will see you next week. Stay safe out there. Bye.